Ladies and gentlemen, hatred is easy to spot. It's loud, it's emotional, it flares up in arguments, glares, and harsh words. But what if I told you that the most dangerous kind of hatred doesn't look like hatred at all? Some people don't just dislike you, they want you gone. And they won't scream, they won't fight, they won't even raise their voice. Instead, they move in silence, carefully plotting every step. I'll reveal 5 chilling signs that someone doesn't just hate you, they are planning something far worse. If you've ever had an uneasy feeling about someone, if you've ever felt like a shadow was following you, even when no one was there, this might be why. Listen closely, because the most dangerous enemy is the one you never see coming. Subtle malice over open hatred. When someone hates you, it's usually obvious. Their words are sharp, their actions impulsive, and their emotions hard to contain. But when a person harbors something far darker than mere hatred, their approach is entirely different. They do not lash out in anger, they calculate. They do not scream their resentment, they conceal it behind a smile. Their goal is not to argue with you, but to erase you. The first and most telling sign of this kind of individual is their subtle malice. Unlike an ordinary enemy who openly expresses their dislike, this person is deliberate in their deception. They can shake your hand with the same fingers that will later pull the trigger, figuratively or even literally. Their hostility is hidden beneath layers of charm, politeness, and even kindness. But underneath that mask lies a cold, relentless intention. This is not accidental. People who are truly dangerous understand that obvious aggression draws attention. If they were to snap at you in public or insult you openly, others might notice, step in, or question their motives. Instead, they take a different route. They pretend to be indifferent, even friendly, while carefully planting seeds of destruction. You might notice subtle signs. A compliment that feels strangely hollow, an offer to help that comes with invisible strings attached, or a casual remark that somehow makes others doubt you. They won't confront you directly. Instead, they work in the shadows, ensuring that by the time you realize their intentions, the damage has already been done. One of their favorite tactics is playing the long game. Unlike someone who simply hates you and might argue with you in the heat of the moment, this type of person exercises patience. They will study you, learning your strengths and weaknesses. They'll observe your habits, noting where you feel safe, who you trust, and where you let your guard down. Then, when the moment is right, they strike. Not with anger, but with precision. Imagine you're in a workplace environment. A typical rival might openly compete with you, try to outshine you in meetings, or make dismissive comments about your work. But a person who has moved beyond hatred into something far more sinister will do none of that. Instead, they will slowly and methodically turn your colleagues against you. A whisper here, a suggestion there, nothing obvious, but enough to create doubt in people's minds. Weeks or months later, you find yourself isolated, with no clear explanation as to why. That's how they operate. Another sign of their subtle malice is their unshakable calmness. Most people, when confronted, will show some form of emotion, anger, frustration, defensiveness. But these individuals remain eerily composed. Even if you catch them in a lie, they don't react as expected. Instead of getting flustered, they smile. Instead of denying, they twist the situation in their favor. Their ability to maintain control, even under pressure, makes them all the more dangerous. Perhaps the most terrifying aspect of this kind of person is that they make you doubt yourself. Because they do not act aggressively, you may question your own instincts. Maybe I'm overthinking, you tell yourself. Maybe they didn't mean it that way. But deep down, something feels wrong. That gut feeling, the unease you experience around them, is the only warning you'll get. Ignore it at your own risk. The difference between an ordinary enemy and a truly dangerous one is not in their words, but in their silence. If someone hates you, they will let it slip eventually. But if someone is truly out to destroy you, they will make sure you never see them coming. Stay aware, trust your instincts, and remember, the most dangerous threats are often the ones hiding in plain sight. Unsettling calmness. Hatred is an emotion that most people cannot contain for long. It bubbles up, bursts through words and actions, and makes itself known in ways that are easy to recognize. But when someone has truly dark intentions, their approach is entirely different. They do not waste energy on outbursts. They do not seek immediate revenge. Instead, they remain disturbingly calm, because they already know what they're going to do. This unsettling calmness is one of the biggest warning signs that a person's hatred for you has evolved into something more sinister. Unlike ordinary enemies who glare at you, talk behind your back, or seek arguments, these individuals refuse to give away any clues. No matter what happens, no matter how much tension fills the air, they remain composed. It is as if they have already made up their mind about your fate, and now they are simply watching the pieces fall into place. This kind of behavior is unnerving for a reason. As humans, we expect emotions to show. When we push someone's buttons, we anticipate a reaction. When we expose their lies, we expect them to flinch. But these individuals, they don't react. Their silence is louder than words. Imagine you find yourself in a conflict with someone at work or in your personal life. A normal enemy might argue, get defensive, or show irritation when confronted. But this person does none of that. You call them out and they just smile. You present evidence of their wrongdoing and they shrug. They are not unaffected, make no mistake, they care very much. But their mind is operating on a different level. They are not interested in winning the moment, they are focused on winning the war. This ability to maintain control is what makes them so dangerous. Most people, even in their worst moments, will show hesitation, guilt, or second thoughts. But these individuals, they feel none of that. Their emotional detachment allows them to make decisions that others would never dare to consider. And because they remain so calm, others often fail to recognize the threat they pose until it is too late. Another unsettling trait of such individuals is their lack of fear. In tense situations, normal people show signs of nervousness, fidgeting, avoiding eye contact, or stumbling over words. But these people, they meet your gaze with unwavering confidence. Their voice remains steady, their posture relaxed. It is as if they have already played out every possible scenario in their mind, and no outcome frightens them. This calmness also extends to how they manipulate others. If someone simply hates you, they might gossip or lash out in frustration. But these individuals, they are far more precise. They carefully plant ideas in people's minds, spreading misinformation so subtly that even their victims don't realize they've been influenced. By the time the damage is done, the person they turned against you will defend them, believing they arrived at their conclusions on their own. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of this trait is that it makes you doubt yourself. When someone refuses to react with anger, when they appear unbothered by your presence, it creates an illusion of safety. Maybe I was wrong, you might think. Maybe they don't really have anything against me. But that is exactly what they want. Their lack of reaction is a strategy, one designed to lower your defenses until you no longer see the danger right in front of you. So, if someone in your life seems strangely calm, too calm, when conflicts arise, pay attention. If they never seem rattled, never show guilt, never lose their composure, take that as a warning. The most dangerous people are not the ones who scream and shout. They are the ones who watch, wait, and strike when you least expect it. Manipulation instead of confrontation. When someone dislikes you, their behavior is usually predictable. They might avoid you, argue with you, or even express their anger outright. But when a person wants to see your downfall, when their hatred has transformed into something far more dangerous, they take a different path. Instead of direct confrontation, they manipulate from the shadows. This is one of the most telling signs that you are not dealing with an ordinary enemy. A person who simply hates you will challenge you to your face. A person who wants to eliminate you will work behind your back. Their goal is not to argue with you. It is to turn your own world against you without you realizing it. These individuals understand that obvious attacks create resistance. If they openly declare war, you will defend yourself. But if they slowly poison your environment, convincing your friends, colleagues, or allies to see you in a different light, you will become isolated before you even know what's happening. They don't attack directly, they shift perceptions. One of their most powerful tools is the art of the whisper. They rarely spread outright lies. Instead, they drop small, carefully crafted hints that cause others to doubt you. Imagine you have a good reputation at work. Rather than openly accusing you of wrongdoing, this person might casually mention to a colleague, "I'm sure it's nothing, but have you noticed how often they disappear from their desk?" It's not an accusation. It's an invitation for others to start questioning you. And once the seed of doubt is planted, it grows. This kind of manipulation can also take the form of selective truth-telling. Rather than fabricating a story, they will take real events, remove the context, and present them in a way that makes you look guilty. If you lose your temper once in a stressful situation, they won't say you're always angry, but they will make sure the right people hear about that one incident. Their goal is not to make up lies, it's to shape reality in a way that benefits them. Another hallmark of their manipulation is controlling the narrative before you even get a chance to speak. They spread their version of events before you realize what's happening, ensuring that by the time you try to defend yourself, others have already formed an opinion. If you try to correct the story, they will feign innocence. "Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I was just worried about you." But by then the damage is done. Perhaps the most dangerous aspect of these individuals is how they weaponize other people. They don't attack you themselves, they manipulate others into doing it for them. You might suddenly find yourself dealing with hostility from unexpected places. Colleagues turn distant, friends become suspicious, opportunities disappear. And all the while, the person behind it all remains in the background, watching as their plan unfolds. This is what makes them so difficult to detect. Because they never confront you directly, you have no clear enemy to fight. Their tactics are slow, subtle, and nearly invisible. You may start questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? But that's exactly what they want. The more confused and isolated you become, the easier it is for them to continue their work. So, if you notice strange shifts in your environment, if people around you start acting differently, if misunderstandings seem to arise out of nowhere, take a step back. Ask yourself, who benefits from this? Who might be pulling the strings? Because the most dangerous enemies are not the ones who fight you openly. They are the ones who make you fight yourself. Calculated moves, not random reactions. Most people act on impulse. When they are angry, they lash out. When they are frustrated, they complain. When they dislike someone, their emotions slip through in subtle or obvious ways. But when a person doesn't just hate you, when they truly want to see you gone, they do not waste their energy on random outbursts. Instead, they plan every move with precision. Unlike an ordinary enemy who reacts emotionally in the moment, this person is playing a long game. They are not interested in temporary victories or petty arguments. Every action they take is intentional. Every word they say is part of a larger strategy. And worst of all, by the time you realize what's happening, they have already positioned you exactly where they want you. Instead, these individuals never act in the heat of the moment. If you insult them, they don't react. If you challenge them, they don't engage. Instead, they remain disturbingly calm because they are already calculating their next step. Their lack of emotion is not a sign of indifference, it is a sign of preparation. While others react out of anger, they are thinking 5 moves ahead. This is what makes them so dangerous. They do not make mistakes. They do not expose their intentions too soon. They wait, they observe, and they strike only when the conditions are perfect. Imagine a chessboard. In an emotional argument, an ordinary person is playing checkers, reacting to what's in front of them without thinking too far ahead. But this type of enemy? They are playing chess. Every move has a purpose. Every piece is carefully positioned. And the most terrifying part? You are part of their strategy, whether you realize it or not. One of their key tactics is choosing the right moment to attack. If they want to ruin your reputation, they won't start rumors immediately. They will wait until you are at your highest point, right before a promotion, right before an opportunity, so that the damage is maximized. If they want to make you lose support, they won't cause drama when you are surrounded by friends. They will wait until you are already isolated, ensuring that you have no one to turn to when the attack comes. Another chilling trait of these individuals is their ability to hide their true intentions until it's too late. They might pretend to be friendly, offer help, or even act as if they have your best interests at heart, but all the while they are gathering information, learning your weaknesses, studying your behavior, and waiting for the right moment to use it all against you. You might think everything is fine, only to wake up one day and realize that every move you made was leading you deeper into their trap. Your allies are gone, your credibility is shattered, and the person behind it all? They are still standing, watching everything unfold exactly as they planned. This kind of calculated enemy does not waste time on small battles. They are patient, methodical, and always thinking ahead. They understand that the most effective way to destroy someone is not with a single attack, but with a series of carefully placed steps that leave no room for escape. So how do you spot them? Look for the person who never reacts too quickly, the one who seems too calm in moments of conflict, the one who appears to let things go but never really forgets. These are not people who move in anger. They move with purpose. And once they have set their sights on you, the only way to stop them is to recognize their game before it's too late. Because in their world, there is no luck, no coincidences, only strategy. Isolation before elimination. When someone hates you, they might insult you, argue with you, or avoid you altogether. But when someone wants to erase you, they take a much more strategic and terrifying approach. Before they make their final move, they ensure one thing first, that you are completely alone. Isolation is not just a coincidence, it is a tactic. A person who is determined to destroy you understands that as long as you have support, you are a threat. So, before they go for the final strike, they systematically cut you off from the people and resources that could protect you. By the time you realize what's happening, you're already surrounded by silence. This process doesn't happen overnight. It starts subtly. At first, you might notice small shifts in how people treat you. Friends who once confided in you now seem distant. Colleagues who once respected you now hesitate before speaking. Invitations to gatherings stop coming. And the worst part? No one can explain why. But this is not an accident. The person behind this knows that direct confrontation would only make you defensive. Instead, they manipulate the perceptions of those around you, planting doubts and suspicions in their minds. They might say things like, "I don't know if you've noticed, but they've been acting differently lately. I'm not saying anything for sure, but I heard something that made me question their loyalty. I used to trust them too, but I've started seeing another side of them." These aren't outright accusations, they are invitations for others to turn against you. And the most dangerous part? The people they influence won't even realize they're being manipulated. They will start to see you through a different lens, and before long, you become the outsider. Another tactic is pushing you into self-isolation. They create situations that make you feel unwelcome or paranoid. Maybe they give you the silent treatment in social settings. Maybe they spread just enough misinformation to make you feel misunderstood. Over time, the stress and confusion cause you to withdraw. You start avoiding certain people, certain places, without realizing that's exactly what they wanted. And then, when the moment is right, they strike. Now that you have no allies, no defense, no one to stand up for you, they deliver the final blow. It could be a public humiliation, a career-ending rumor, or a betrayal that leaves you with nothing. But whatever it is, you are now completely vulnerable, and that is what they have been waiting for all along. But this is why the most dangerous enemy is not the one who fights you openly, but the one who isolates you first. So how do you protect yourself? Pay attention to sudden shifts in your social environment. If you feel people pulling away for no clear reason, ask yourself, who benefits from this? Who might be influencing this situation? Why do these changes seem to happen so quietly, so gradually? And most importantly, never let them make you doubt yourself, because once they convince you that you are alone, the battle is already half won. Remember, the final strike never comes when you are strong. It comes when you are isolated, weak, and unaware. Stay alert, stay connected, and never let them decide your fate for you.